Agreed to. The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. And I guess we should answer the question that was asked by my colleague to the Minister. What will this bill do? And by itself, not much, I have to say, because again, what it does is it encapsulates classic Tory policy, and that is wave a big stick around, and we'll get change in behaviour. Well, yes, the stick has certainly been increased in size, Mr Speaker. And I will, along with the Minister, acknowledge the good work that happened in Select Committee. Some very good members on that committee, I have to say. I think I might be one myself, actually. Yes, that's right. And the Chairman, Shane Ardern, who's done a great job. He should, in fact, be the Minister. I've always believed that. But I guess 2 Ministers of Agriculture would be a bit much, even for the National Party. Mr Speaker, when this bill was introduced to the House, it was a reaction from a couple of high-profile incidents, shocking incidents that horrified the country, and the government, in its usual way, reacted and said we'll put up the penalties. It didn't, at that point, commit at any stage to any further resourcing of the department. Well, I'll get on to that, Mr Carter, just in a moment. Mr Speaker, and the budget came out last week and there was some more money put into animal welfare policing and monitoring. And I applaud the Minister to a point, because before he gets too excited, I went to the budget documents here, you see, and I said, now where did he get that money? Because that tight Bill English is only giving money to his rich mates through tax cuts, not to any other important area of this economy. So I said, where has the money come to increase the monitoring, policing of animal welfare, which I think is necessary? And we said, in fact, it might have been the pressure that we brought on the government when they introduced this bill. We raised the issue of no funding, no resources. I think they bowed to that pressure. I think they did. Anyway, the Minister got it. The money comes from, can I just quote, transferred from. There is no new money at all for the Ministry of Agriculture for animal welfare. What they've simply done is shuffled money around. And do you know what I think? Do you know why Bill English and John Key agreed to that? Because John Key understands that if you shuffle money, you get a slice of it and you make a whole lot of money. He hasn't quite worked out that shuffling money within departments doesn't actually deliver you any more resource. Mr Speaker, so in acknowledging the support for this bill, because as I say, the bill in itself does not do anything, it makes an adjustment. It does make an adjustment. I'll make one small concession to the Minister. It makes an adjustment under the definition of reckless ill-treatment and willful ill-treatment that does allow, if the resources allocated through the budget fund properly, the people to follow up on this. It does allow people to be prosecuted and not fall through the cracks, and that was one of the issues that was occurring here, Mr Speaker. But let's be honest here. We've got a huge task ahead of us, because of the 14,000 complaints in 2008, only 58 resulted in convictions. And usually, fair-minded New Zealanders, they're aware of the agricultural rural economy we're in. Usually they only complain when there is some fairly legitimate case of neglect, if not willful ill-treatment, I have to say. So that's a big gap between the notification level and those who actually went through the prosecution. I acknowledge there is now more resource, a small amount of additional resource, Mr Speaker, I think it is, into this area, but it has all come from climate change, from other animal welfare initiatives, from policy advice around animal welfare, Mr Speaker, from the grant assessment management. It's come from a whole lot of areas, and we have yet to hear what effect that might have on the Ministry of Agriculture. Mr Speaker, the Labour Party will support this bill because we along with a whole lot. Mr. Power is astounded at that. I mean, I'm surprised. Mr. Power comes from a rural electorate. If he ever got his gumboots on and went out there, of course, no doubt. No, on Saturday, and they might have got dirty. Did they get dirty? No, not quite. It was a good look, Simon, I'm sure. Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party, along with an increasing number of leaders, although we need more of those in agriculture, I have to say, but certainly commentators, that animal welfare is a key part of our future in terms of an economy, because 65% of our exports still come from the primary sector. Pastoral farming, the management of animals, the welfare of animals is still a huge part of that, and we have to get it right. No ifs, no buts, no maybes, Mr. Speaker. And I do want to quote, and I like to promote this. I think KPMG, I don't always promote consultants in this House or indeed anywhere around the country, but I have to say this is a very, very good report. Their first attempt, no, it doesn't. No, it's got far more vision than the National Party manifesto. In fact, the Minister, I hope the Minister's read it, because most of the things will be news to him. Most of the things will be news to him, and it does say something here about the need for leadership. It says the need for rural infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, but it says in here, of course, that there is a need for proper animal welfare management in this country. And if we drop the ball on that, then there's a risk that our high-value customers will simply drop the ball on our products. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to read from this, because I think it's valuable. Increasingly, customers want to understand where their food has come from and have certainty that it has been produced using best practice animal welfare standards. And this is a warning, and the Minister should be listening to this. While New Zealand farmers may see short-term economic benefits from establishing animal welfare standards below global best practices, in respect of the sow stalls, for example, and I know that's maybe an issue that the Greens might raise here, these benefits are likely to be short-lived as the major supermarket chains increasingly adopt strategies to target sourcing towards products that meet the very highest standards. Mr. Speaker, we have to be able to hold our heads up high here and say that in terms of animal welfare standards, we reach the very highest standard in the world, and we uphold those and police those, Mr. Speaker. This bill is one step in that process. As I say, of itself, it didn't guarantee anything. We have had a slight increase in the budget for people who go around and monitor this, and the SPCA must be acknowledged in this area. They are a voluntary organisation. They have received an additional amount of money, which I no doubt they will put to very good use. And to the farmers who are concerned that SPCA people may be unfairly knocking on their door or monitoring their animal management practices, the simple fact is that it is often the urban standards that determine the purchasing behaviour of our consumers. So those urban standards and assessments will no doubt be applied and to farmers up and down this country. So if you've got stock that are in a tight situation, don't put them by the road. In fact, make sure that they don't get in a tight situation. Mr Ardern will know, as Mr Carter might know, he wouldn't. He's from Canterbury, sheep and beef farmer. But those dairy farmers in particular, who sometimes come under tight situations, they have to do their best to uphold the standards, look after their animals, and show and prove the world. That's right, Mr Carter, yes. He'll be in touch with reality at some stage in his short career, perhaps. Mr Ardern, on the other hand, I have to acknowledge, he knows what agriculture is about, and he should be the Minister. But coming back, Mr Speaker, we acknowledge this bill, and we support the bill for the reality that it is one chunk in an improving situation that New Zealand can proudly show off to the world, is that we are upholding the highest standards of animal welfare. We uphold the highest standards of animal management, including welfare, to get good production, but to do it in a way that meets their ever-increasing expectations in the in the global marketplace and their desire for quality food. So we support
Sorry
this
to
bill.
interrupt.